It is mailbag time here on the Browns Report, where I answer the questions you guys asked in a community post I put out earlier this week. So if you ever want to get on a mailbag show, all you got to do is subscribe to the channel and then post your question, comment away when I put the mailbag call out. Let's get into the first question, though. Without further ado, John Boreman, he asks, what do you think the chances of Jarvis Landry leaving? Also, what do you think about using Kareem Hunt in a trade for a number one deep threat? We have so many great running backs that maybe we could afford to trade them. John, it's a good question and also a good idea, too. Two questions in there, so let me answer the first one quickly. Chances of Jarvis Landry leaving, I think more likely than unlikely at this point. The Browns would save almost $15 million against the cap. I'm guessing they would like to use that money on a free agent wide receiver who's younger than Landry. But if Cleveland says, hey, we'd rather actually not give a big contract out this offseason because maybe we got to pay some quarterback next season unless we want to draft someone and go with the cheaper route. So we'll save our money for next offseason. So I still think it's more likely than unlikely that Landry is out of Cleveland. And then as for the idea of trading Kareem Hunt, if this was like 10 or 15 years ago, yeah, I would be for it. But Browns fans, we know when we traded Trent Richardson to the Colts, we won that deal, and I think the NFL learned a lesson that day. You don't trade running backs and get a lot for them anymore because teams just do not view running backs as something very valuable. It's just kind of a dime a dozen. You can draft a running back late in the NFL draft and get about a good value. I mean, take, for example, the Cowboys. They paid Zeke all that money, and Tony Pollard, who was a day 3 pick for Dallas out of Memphis, arguably better than Zeke at some point. So if you want to trade Kareem Hunt in a package, it would be a pretty big idea. Maybe you do Kareem Hunt and some draft capital to the Falcons for Calvin Ridley, but I just don't see the Falcons wanting to trade for Kareem Hunt when they can draft a younger and cheaper guy. But what would you say about this? Would you be open to a Kareem Hunt trade? You know, I don't have an issue with the idea of rolling with Nick Chubb and Dearness Johnson, but I do like the 1-2 punch a lot more of Chubb and Hunt. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. All right, let's get into our next question coming in from Jeresey Mike. Honestly, I like Jeresey Mike sandwiches a lot, but Jeresey Mike says, or Jersey, I don't know how to say that. I saw a Jeremy Fowler post, I think he means, say the Browns would be a good spot for Mike Williams. What do you think of Cleveland bringing Williams in? So the idea of signing Mike Williams, to me, pretty appetizing. Look what Mike Williams did this year, for example. Over 1,000 yards on 76 receptions and 9 touchdowns. Mike Williams, former early first-round pick out of Clemson to, at the time, San Diego. A lot of promise around him, and I wouldn't say he was a bust because he just didn't get off to a great start and couldn't stay healthy. But he's turned things around. He's got that, elusive and rare combination of size and speed. Williams is not my first choice, however. I like Chris Godwin or Allen Robinson a little bit more than Mike Williams, but if the Browns sign Mike Williams, I would be pumped about that because Mike Williams has shown he can be an awesome wide receiver. He just needs a good quarterback, and he had that with Herbert the last 2 years. I don't know if he's the kind of quarterback that can change a quarterback, or a type of wide receiver that can change a quarterback. So that's why I'm a little more prone to Chris Godwin or Allen Robinson, who can work in the slot, even though Robinson's not a huge slot guy, and can help his quarterback out a ton with yards after the catch. Speaking of wide receivers, who is your favorite Browns wide receiver of all time? Let me know in the comments who it is. Ozzie Newsome, right? I think it's a pretty good guess or a pretty good pick right there. Let me know what it is down below. I'll be looking for your answers. Let's get into the next question. Gregory Libra. Gregory asks, do you see the Browns trading up round 2 for Desmond Ridder, 6'4", to groom behind Mayfield? So, Gregory, good question. An interesting one for sure. Let's check out Desmond Ridder, the quarterback out of Cincinnati. The 4-year guy, 5-year guy, has been there for quite some time. I think the best case for Ridder, no matter where he goes, is to sit for a year and learn a little bit because there's so much about Ridder that you like, but way too much that you don't like, and you need to change. And you'd like to believe that if you're the coach of an NFL team or quarterback coach or the front office, that your organization, your franchise could groom Desmond Ridder to get all the likes out of him and just ditch the dislikes. There's just too many plays, though, that make you scratch your head and go, what was he thinking? What was he seeing? Was it the first play of the AAC conference bowl game for Cincinnati. He threw a pick to Baylor. It's just like, what did you see on that play? So I don't hate the idea of trading up to draft a quarterback to sit behind Baker, because best case scenario, Baker's has a great year in 2022, and you have a very rare problem of having too many good quarterbacks. But I would rather see that second round pick go to a wide receiver or a more impact player on the defensive line. But what do you guys think? Should the Browns draft a quarterback? Give me a D for draft or a P for pass. And while you are putting your votes in down below, if you have not subscribed already, please join us here. We are less than 100 subscribers away from reaching 5,000. Was it 95 last time I checked? So please go ahead and subscribe. Help a fellow Brownie out. Browns fans help Browns fans. So hit that big red button and subscribe. Jason Kimball asks, would Browns trade for Carr or Cousins? Baker Mayfield trade talk is going to be a fun conversation that's not going to die down, I don't think, throughout the offseason. Let's start with addressing Derek Carr. The Raiders, I think, would give this a hard no. The Raiders actually love Carr so much that they're reportedly about to give him a huge contract extension in the neighborhood of $35 to $40 million. So if they were going to do that, I don't think they would want to trade Derek Carr for Baker Mayfield. Kirk Cousins, on the other hand, apparently Kevin O'Connell, the new head coach in Minnesota, likes Cousins a lot. He doesn't want to move on from him. So I don't see either team wanting to make a trade for Baker Mayfield, because they would view that as a downgrade, and the Browns would have to compensate with draft capital. And I'm guessing neither organization looks at the upcoming draft class and goes, yeah, we'll take Baker Mayfield in a second for our QB who we like more. Overall, though, if you guys had to pick a quarterback, who would you pick? If you think it's Derek Carr, put his jersey number 4 down below. Baker Mayfield, give me a 6, or Kirk Cousins, give me an 8. I think Cousins and Carr get a lot more shit than they deserve, but they're not going to wow you. Whereas Baker Mayfield, he's younger in his career, so you still have that unknown factor of, can he put it all together, right? That's every dream of a fan when they draft a quarterback first overall in the first round of, can we give him enough time and finally get that, the investment you put in him by drafting him first overall? Ethan H. with the next question. What's up, Ethan? He asks, if Andrew Berry isn't willing to spend top dollar at the wide receiver position during free agency, would he target a defensive tackle like Akeem Hicks, defensive end Jadeveon Clowney or Emmanuel Ogbah, or a linebacker like Anthony Walker or Harold Landry? I don't think Akeem Hicks makes much sense for the Browns. He's older in his career. I'm guessing Hicks would want to go just to a more Super Bowl kind of ready team that's just one piece away. Now, Clowney and Ogbah, that's an interesting one. I talked about these two guys in the video I put out just a couple days ago, best and worst case plan for the offseason. In fact, I'll have that link down below. But anyway, let's get back to these two cats. Clowney and Ogbah this year had pretty great seasons by all accounts. Clowney had nearly a career year, 9 sacks in just 14 games. His career high is 9.5, so you think if he plays those 3 other games, he would crush that career total. Ogbah in Miami, I think the Dolphins, just a lot of their key players got forgotten this year because of their roller coaster, their highs and lows of winning 7 in a row and losing 7 in a row. But Ogbah quietly put together a great season. So if the Browns signed either of these two players, I'd be very happy for it. I'd be all smiles. As for Harold Landry, though, I would take him over Anthony Walker in a heartbeat. Walker was signed to a 1-year deal, a bit of a prove-it deal, and didn't stay on the field long enough to really see enough out of him. As for Landry, I bet the Titans re-sign him. They'd be crazy not to. The guy finally gives them what they've been looking for, 12 sacks and a forced fumble. He's not your typical edge rusher, right? He doesn't line up in a 4-3. He's more of your outside linebacker, maybe a 3-4. But still, he's a playmaker. And if you want to get playmakers on your team, Landry is your guy. My ultimate goal, and I've kind of talked about this a couple times, but I'll keep beating this horse keep beating this thing down. Make Cleveland attractive in 2023, because the Browns need to get a new quarterback. If Baker Mayfield doesn't work out, they got to draft a guy. Have support staff for this next quarterback coming in, whether it's a rookie wide receiver this year or you sign someone like Chris Godwin or Allen Robinson. I just don't want the next quarterback to come in and have nothing to work with, or a free agent quarterback to not want to come to Cleveland, or a trade candidate to go, I don't want to go to the Browns. They've got no pieces. We'll check out some other questions in a moment, but Fanatics has an awesome deal going on. When you go to chatsports.com/BrownsT, you get 25% off this t-shirt combo. That's right, you get 2 shirts right there. Head on over to chatsports.com/BrownsT. Right there, the link at the bottom of the screen. I'll have that link in the comments and the description of today's video. Listen, spring's around the corner. You want to look good in a nice Browns t-shirt with the elf on it. You know what to do. Next question from J.R. Swish. Thanks for the question, J.R. What can a possible trade back in the draft look like? I love the idea of trading in the draft because it's just so much fun. When you see your team pop up and it's like, we got to trade, like, holy shit. But here are some possible trade suitors. I think these are 4 teams that would want to move up in the draft. Unfortunately, a lot of the draft capital belongs to just a couple teams, meaning like the Eagles have 3 first-round picks. So I doubt they want to move up. They already got 3 first-rounders. You got the Giants who have 2 first-rounders. But anyway, the Saints at 18, maybe they want to make a home run pick with the quarterback. They don't want to wait, so they move up from 18 to 13, kind of like the Bears did last year when they went up from wherever they were to go get Fields from the Giants pick. The Patriots, I'm wondering if they like a wide receiver so much, they'll trade up to get Mac Jones, his first guy. Maybe Jameson Williams. Dallas Cowboys at 24. The Cowboys are just unpredictable in the draft. You never really know what Dallas is going to do. So maybe they want to move up and get someone for Dak because they feel like we have to make an impact season after yet another early playoff loss. And then the Packers at 28, I put them in there because if they keep Rodgers and they keep Adams, maybe they really want to go all chips in on the middle of the table and draft a dominant wide receiver too. So I'd love to trade back. Another team I didn't put on there was the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just can't envision the Browns and the Steelers working out a deal in the draft. That would just be very bizarre for the Browns to potentially help Pittsburgh get their next quarterback. But if a team wants to help the Browns out or wants to move up to the Browns spot and give Cleveland a 2023 first rounder or an extra second rounder for moving back 5-10 spots, yeah, I would do that actually. I would do that almost in a heartbeat. All right, next question, Jaxon Highstreet. Appreciate the question, Jackson. Would you want Allen Lazard? Speaking of Green Bay, he is a really good wide receiver and is one of the best wide receiver blocking-wise and could benefit our running backs. Jackson, you're absolutely right that Allen Lazard is one of the best blocking wide receivers out there. Would I want him? As a second option, sure. The only thing with Lazard is you got to wonder, is it Allen Lazard or is it Aaron Rodgers? You know, his Rodgers made Lazard look so good he'll get paid this offseason. Let's get into our final question, Thomas Dugan. With what happened with Stephon Diggs in Minnesota and now OBJ in Cleveland, with both wanting out of Stefanski's offense, was confirmed that OBJ asked for a trade last offseason. Do you see a top-tier wide receiver wanting to come here, or will money talk? I'm going to look at the last 2 words you have there. Money talks. I think if the Browns come out and they give Chris Godwin $90 to $100 million, Chris Godwin will go, you know what? Baker Mayfield's not a half-bad quarterback. I can make this work, actually. But I do see what you're saying. I think if you're Kevin Stefanski, one, I wouldn't read too much into Stephon Diggs in Minnesota. He was the OC. There's more going on there. But altogether, I think money talks more than anything else. All right, guys, we'll catch you later here on the Browns Report. Make sure you subscribe to get on a future mailbag show.